In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help make eating the right amount easier. One thing I learned on my 80-pound weight loss journey was I did not want to count calories. I tried it for a while, it drove me nuts, and I was just bound and determined to figure out how to eat less food without counting calories. It's really crucial that you do learn how to eat the right amount of food, because if you don't, you're not going to lose weight. You have to learn how to eat less, and really that means eating fewer calories so that you're in a caloric deficit so that you can lose weight. Now, before we go into the tips, I do want to say that having just a base layer of knowledge, just kind of knowing the basics of about how many calories are in foods, just in general, just so you kind of get an idea of just how easy it is to eat a lot of calories, that's going to help you. If you have no idea how many calories are in the various foods that you eat the most often, it would help you to know that, especially if it's things like fast food or, snacks and stuff like that. Those are the ones that really can add up so quickly. Like you can eat one day's worth of calories at just one meal at a fast food restaurant without even trying very hard. So if you know that, it just helps make weight loss so much easier because we get so kind of out of whack in our calibration of, well, how many calories should we be eating? Because there's so many calories in these foods. Like if you go to McDonald's for 3 meals out of the day and you just order like the biggest stuff, the supersized whatever, if you do that, you're going to eat way more calories than you need. But it can be kind of deceptive because you might think, well, this is what a meal is, so I should have 3 meals a day. And so, doing that math, that should be it. But it's just not. Also, if you don't know about how many calories you need, that's another good little thing to know. And again, these are estimates. Like the calculators are going to show you kind of a range that you probably should eat, but just know that those calculators can vary widely in how many calories they're going to say you need. So best thing to do there is to basically say that you're sedentary and like no matter, even if you are active, go with the sedentary calculation and put in your weight and your height and your age, and then it'll show you about how many calories you need to maintain, and then you can choose to try to go into a bit of a deficit, and that will give you kind of just a general idea. So like if you figure out like, okay, I need to be eating around 1,500 calories in order to lose weight, and then you kind of educate yourself on about how much food that is, that can give you just kind of a rough idea of like, okay, here's about what I need to shoot for. But it doesn't mean that at every meal you need to be like measuring stuff out or even trying to calculate it. Because what I found was I couldn't do that for the long term, and it really just didn't help me. Let's get on to the actual tips on how to do this without counting calories. Tip number 1 is to eat from a smaller plate. Now, this is the easiest change I think that you can make when you're trying to lose weight, because like you can just say like, this is my new plate. It doesn't mean that this is like I get just one serving or anything like that. Like it's just go to this size plate. This is a 9-inch luncheon plate from Fiestaware, my favorite dishes in the world. This is their dinner plate. And so you can see the size difference, right? Like it might not seem like that's going to make much of a difference. But what I found through experience was that when I ate from this plate, I found it so much easier to eat the right amount of food. And when I would eat from this plate, I would overeat. I would find that when I would, just put food on here, even if I was trying to eat the right amount, I would just end up being overly full at the end of the meal. And I think this is more of a psychological thing than anything. Like, you put that amount of food on and you think, well, I need to eat it because I put it on my plate. And you don't realize really just how much more food is on there. Tip number 2 is to turn off your devices and all other distractions and eat the food. The thing is that when you are not paying attention to what you're eating, and I'm not talking about like trying to eat more vegetables or not paying attention to like how many calories. I'm just saying you're just not paying attention. You're eating and you're doing something else. You're eating and you're watching TV. You're eating and you're texting. You're eating and you're reading. All that stuff can lead to eating way too much food and not even realizing that you've eaten it because you're not paying attention. And that can make weight loss way harder than it needs to be, because when you don't really know how much you're eating, then it's really hard when you're maybe just kind of stagnant, like you're not really losing any weight. because you really haven't been paying attention, you may find yourself thinking, well, I'm not eating too much. But that's only because you haven't really been aware of the amount of calories that you're really consuming. Tip number 3 is to take your time. Now, this is in one way an easy thing to do because everybody can slow down. Everybody can spare a little bit of time. You can just, take a few seconds more. Everybody can spare that amount of time. However, this is one of those things that you can work on for a really long time. I'm still working on this one. And so it's an easy thing to start to implement, but a hard thing to master. Now, one way to help yourself not rush is to start making more time in your day, which means saying no to things. And maybe that's not an easy thing to do, but it is an option. You can also decide to fast for a little bit longer. If that means that, like right now, maybe you're kind of busy and you can't devote more time to just sitting down and eating. So maybe fast a little bit longer so that you get your tasks done or whatever. And then when you sit down, you will have a bigger space of time where you can sit down and just enjoy the food. And if you do that, I think you'll find that you end up eating the right amount of food as opposed to rushing and then eating too much and then regretting it later. Tip number 5 is to eat plenty of everything. So there are, various camps out there who are like really emphasizing a lot of times like protein or like, oh, you gotta eat only meat or you should only eat vegetables or whatever. But what I have found is that if I eat, just try to get some of everything at a meal. And instead of trying to do like the extreme of one thing, I just find that I eat the right amount of food overall. Like I'm either losing weight when that's my goal or I'm maintaining. And what I mean by that is know things like, fiber helps fill you up. So if you find that you are not feeling full enough, but maybe you are eating enough calories, add in something that's going to give you some fiber. Things like beans or salad, things like that can help you feel fuller. And so that can help you eat fewer calories. And so you'll eat the right amount of food. Fat helps really fill you up also. So if you only are used to eating, like a lot of carbs, you might find if you add in more protein and fat, you're going to feel more satisfied on fewer calories overall. Tip number 5 is to lower your stress levels. One reason that a lot of people overeat, and this is definitely true of me, is that we're stressed. Like you sit down and you're stressed out and eating makes you feel better. And so you just eat and you eat and you eat even past the point of being full. You're full and you're like, I just want to keep eating because, this makes me feel good. And the thing is, what I found is that if you can, instead of doing that, try to work through the stress. So sometimes that's just like having a conversation with whoever you are upset with. Sometimes it's just writing things out in a journal. Other times is going for a walk or praying or, going to confession. There are lots of different things you can do that will help you feel less stressed. And when you feel more relaxed, then it's a lot easier to eat the right amount of food. So I hope you found those tips helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Chances are, since you just watched that video, you're on the weight loss journey yourself. And I just wanted to let you know that I do have some more resources available to you. I have a course on Teachable, Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101, and this takes you through the entire process of weight loss with intermittent fasting, from how to get started, and then how to build your plan and customize it to your own life, and finally, how to keep it off for the rest of your life. And I also offer weekly office hours so that you can get your questions answered directly by me.